Once the forging is complete, the blade must be made perfectly straight. As careful as the forging work is, it's rough work, done with a heavy hammer at high temperatures. Imperfections that went unnoticed during forging are compounded by warping, incurred as the blade cools. The blade is made perfectly straight by laying it on a wooden block, into which a bowl-shaped convexity has been made, and striking it with a rubber mallet. Then the blade is normalized by heating it to critical temperature in the forge, and then allowing it to air cool. A convenient way to test critical temperature is with a magnet, since steel loses its magnetism at temperatures above critical. This heating and cooling releases internal stresses and causes some warping to occur. Once the blade has cooled, it is straightened once again. This process of normalizing and straightening is repeated until the blade no longer warps upon cooling, normally 3 or 4 cycles. After the straightening process, all oxidized scale is removed with a belt sander. This must be done with extreme caution. One hiccup or sneeze, and the shinogi line, the crest that runs down the length of the blade, could be damaged. Once the scale has been removed, the shinogi line is highlighted with a Sharpie marker. The blade is measured and marked so that the line may be drawn perfectly. Now begins the hard work of refining the blade shape with a hand file. Observe the completed filing above the shinogi line. Much more work is needed. Once the filing is completed, it is time to clay the blade. This is done by my highly trained Japanese assistant. The clay along the spine of the blade must be a couple of millimeters thick, while along the cutting edge it must be no more than a paper-thin film. One way to accomplish this is to cover the entire blade with a thin layer and then wipe away the clay from the cutting edge. It is this difference in clay thickness that causes two different crystalline structures to form in the steel, resulting in curvature of the blade during the hardening process. Vertical lines of clay are placed along the cutting edge as stress releasers. Now the clay must be baked onto the blade. The forge is heated. Then the flame is turned off and the sword is allowed to sit in the warm oven. In preparation for heat treating the sword, the tempering rig is heated to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Then the clayed blade is heated to critical temperature. And finally quenched in a tank of warm water. Immediately after quenching, the blade is inserted in the tempering rig. After a few minutes, the temperature of the tempering rig is raised to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and the sword is left for 1 hour. And here is the quenched blade. Observe the graceful, even, gradual curve. The process of polishing and sharpening will be shown in a future video.